Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of PickABone with Bones and the Boys, joined by Anthony McAvoy and Jay Block. This is our first episode, guys. We got some hot topics to get into. Should be a pretty quick, not quick show. It's gonna, with you two arguing, it's gonna get a little intense. But we'll move into the first segment of the show, and that's gonna be, we're gonna be talking about Zion Williamson, the freshman at Duke. He's having a great season this year. Now he's averaging about 21 points a game, 8 rebounds. Scottie Pippen said the other day that he wants Zion to sit out this season and just get ready for the NBA draft. Jay, we're going to start with you. How do you feel about this topic and Zion, if he wants to sit out or if he doesn't sit out and hopefully plays for a national championship?
Well, you know, we see a lot of players in the NBA, and we see a lot in college, or at least it's getting pushed to college. We see a lot of players taking time off, or as they call it now, rest. You see on the parentheses on the bar when it's coming through. Frankly, I'm against it. Whether he's in the pros or not, I'm against the whole, like, take a day off, you earned it kind of thing. I think it's absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous. You know, at the end of the day, we forget that he's still a college student. Yes, he might be a 6'8", 280-plus pound freak in nature who can stuff the ball like no other. He still has to go to class. He still has to be in bed at a certain time. I mean, this is still a child we are talking about here. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we're giving this child this ability to say, hey, you earned it. Just wait until you go to the league, and we'll hopefully, you know, pray for you that you don't get hurt there. I disagree. I think it's kind of revolting that they're even trying to, you know, influence this kind of idea and attitude. I'm against it. And frankly, knowing the kind of coach Coach K is, he won't allow it. So, I mean, there's no reason to even complain about it.
So here's my thing, because I also agree with you, Jay. I'm with this, you know, there's no point in sitting because you definitely don't know what could happen, you know. Nothing is guaranteed in any sport. But I want to come at this from a statistical point of view. For those of you who don't know, Zion is averaging 21.7 points per game, 9.3 rebounds a game, 2.4 assists a game. He's shooting 67% from the field, which is nuts. So in that game, that overtime loss against Syracuse, he scored a career-high 35 points. But then you look at the other guys. You know, Duke signed an unbelievable class. 3 of the top 3 recruits in the nation going to Duke. R.J. Barrett, 23 points a game. Cam Reddish, 13.1 points a game. Now, when you look outside of those 3, Duke has nobody. Nobody who can consistently score and be that guy. Cam Reddish, to be completely honest, no offense to Cam, isn't a guy that I would absolutely 100% rely on. But when you look, because I know you're about to say something, when you look at this, any time Zion has an interview, he always compliments his team before he compliments himself.
Media trained.
Exactly.
Media trained.
It's
an actual course they take even as celebrities. Media trained. Do not fall for that. Do not be the general person who falls for that kind of stuff. It is media training. It is not real. They know what they want to say, but they're obligated to say something else. Do not buy that.
Anthony, before you go on now, the other part about the Cam Reddish thing, I think if R.J. Barrett and Zion aren't on a team, Cam Reddish is easy.
Cam Reddish is a star.
He's easily going to score 20, 25 points.
Cam Reddish is the best shooter. Wait, let's figure this out. Cam, if you notice, all 3 of them, R.J., Zion, and Cam, all 3 of them are different players in their own way. Cam is the best shooter.
Yes.
RJ's the best floor general. Zion is a defensive anchor and a stopper in the paint.
Yes.
They all have their own purpose. So to tell me that you're going to take one out and it won't hurt them, or having just one won't do as much, you're crazy.
No, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm sitting here saying that if you take out Zion Williamson, this team's not the same.
Yeah.
Because of all of the specialties that all 3 of them contain is what makes this team so special. But back to the point I was trying to make, Zion is a team guy. He could have sat out his entire senior year in high school and still been the #1 recruit in the nation. But he didn't. And you know what he did? He went and made a deep championship and deep state tournament run. Yeah. I can't remember if he won it or not. I'm pretty sure he did win the state championship. But he didn't have to. He could have sat out. So if you're not going to sit out in high school knowing that, you know, you could tear your ACL in the state championship game and never play a minute in college, why not do the same thing in college? Yes, I understand you're not getting paid, but at the same time, you were in a band of brothers. I want to compare this to Nick Bosa in the NFL. He's sitting out because of injury concerns. He was already injured. Zion's not injured in any way.
Now, on the other side of things, you got to look at how much money Zion could possibly make if he does sit out. I don't. Me personally, I would not sit out. I would play this season, but I'm also not 6'8", 285 pounds, and could be no more drafted. But I'm saying if Zion did sit out, I would not argue the decision because of the money in that decision. So for you to say that, but what do you think, Jay? Like with all that money into it, and also what Anthony's saying, could you see why Zion would sit out or may not sit out?
No, I couldn't see why he would, and I can't see why he would even think of doing it. And I mean, yes, like how I said before, they're media trained, but I also think when he was asked, would you see, like how Anthony said, he referred right back to his teammates, and I've noticed that is a trend in his talk. He is very committed to the Duke brotherhood of playing. But I don't think there's a reason to, even if he wanted to. I mean, he's healthy. He's blessed to get the opportunity to play Division I basketball. I mean, he knows he's going to go in the draft, whether his averages drop for the rest of the season or they don't even make it to the tournament. He knows he's going. Even probably with a broken ankle, he's going to go. I mean, it has to be detrimental and depth-defying of an accident for them to say, I don't want this kid anymore.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to add, because you think back to a few years ago when Philadelphia drafted Joel Embiid, who was already hurt. He had gotten hurt in Kansas. But Philadelphia sat there and they were like, we know that this kid is a star, and he will be a star. Granted, we might not get him for a year, maybe 2 years, or we'll try him in the second year, and if he can't go, he can't go. Look where he's at now. He should be an MVP candidate. He's not, but he should be.
33 and 20 the other night versus Spurs.
Exactly. So I'm sitting here, and when I look at this, I'm like, so what if he's hurt? We've watched Zion for 18, almost 19, 20 games now. We know what he's capable of. We know what he can do. So who cares if he's hurt? Just let him sit out for, half a season or a season when he gets to the league. You know you're going to get him, and you know once he hits the floor what you're going to get with him.
Yep.
So for me, there's no point at all in sitting out. It's pointless.
And I think Zion's going to make the right decision. I think he's going to, follow out the rest of the season, hopefully try to end up deep into the NCAA tournament. We're going to have a lot of time to see him grow in the next few years and hopefully become a pretty good NBA player. Talking about the NBA, though, James Harden, the kind of run he's been on here lately, 30-point games for 21 straight games, 61 points versus the Knicks last night. What kind of James Harden right now? I'm speechless right now just talking about it. What kind of stretch is James on right now? Is he going to get the MVP, or do you think he'll maybe slow down here in the future?
He's going to slow down a little bit. I mean, he's going to slow down. We look at this Houston Rockets team. We have Chris Paul, who's a piece of glass, stub toe out for 6 months. P.J. Tucker is a 1 in a million when it comes to spotting up. I don't care if he leads the league in corner threes for the next 6 years. Inconsistent shooter. You have a fragile point guard. And you have a small forward who's inconsistent on shooting the ball as well, Gerald Green. Mm-hmm. Clint Capella's a solid player. I like him. He's worth the money that they offered him. Mm-hmm. He's going to slow down. As they come closer to the end of the season, he might still keep going. But as soon as it's playoffs and teams really start locking down and doing their job, he's not going to do the numbers he will. I mean, he'll still get buckets because James Harden is a bucket machine. Frankly, I think he travels every move he takes, but he's a bucket machine. He'll slow down a little bit.
I definitely agree with that. This is a run that is so unprecedented and something that we haven't seen since, Wilt Chamberlain doing it almost every game a season. And it's a lot of when I watch James Harden, I see so many Kobe-esque performances and not wanting to compare him to Kobe. But,
and you never will be able to.
And you never will be able to. But when I watch James Harden, I watch him take over a game and it be just him, and that's where the Kobe comparison comes in. Kobe, we're coming up, we just had, what was it, the 11th anniversary of when he scored 81 on the Raptors.
Wait, I just have one thing to say, though. Kobe did one thing that James Harden didn't.
Win a title.
Play defense.
Oh, that too.
He won a title, too.
He did. He won numerous titles that James probably never will win, because James is that kind of player.
And talking about your point right there, James Harden, out of his last 255 points, 231 of them have been unassisted on. And how does that relate to being a team player? You know, is he just going down the court and is he pulling up shots and making them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yes.
But you also
no, there is no also.
No,
yes. Every
yes,
time
yes.
he does it, that's what happens.
But you have to think why. Chris
every
Paul's
time.
out. Chris Paul's out.
It didn't matter if
They're
Paul
all-
was in the game.
But it would be a little bit different.
Why? Because he got to
you
bounce
think?
past him. And he's like, "Thanks, Chris. My turn now. We have
Well,
24 seconds
but
on the
you
shot
have to
clock.
remember-
I'm gonna pull it."
You have to remember, Chris Paul is somebody, whether he's hurt or he's not, Chris Paul is somebody who's going to find the open man, whether that's James Harden or not.
Yeah, after he
Chris-
does 16 dribble moves.
Chris
but
Paul
that's beside
is
the point.
going to find the right play. Chris Paul is maybe one of the best point guards of our generation.
No. Oh my. Whew,
He's been
no.
playing a long time, and he does have a
Exactly.
great career.
He's not going to be Hall of Fame. Hey, here's the thing.
Oh.
He will be put in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he should be. But
Why
he
not?
will be.
Because he was on crappy Clippers teams that couldn't
No.
win because he was the
Where's
only one.
Where's his resume? He's a good leader. Okay, where's that got in the second
Look
round
at
of
all
playoffs?
look at all the assists he's got.
Okay.
Jay, I'll give you a few seconds
Come
to wrap this up. Where I got the producer in my ear right now, so we take a commercial break after this. After Jay wraps up this point, I'll give you a little bit.
I'm gonna make it short and sweet, because I know how it is working and paying bills and stuff. God forbid he can't lose his job. Here's my point. What does he have on his resume? Yes, he can dribble the ball. He does great moves. He's got a smooth jumper. He's a good facilitator. Yes, great point
Are
guard.
we talking about Chris
So-
Paul or James Harden?
So is Ricky Rubio. Rubio doesn't have a
James
resume.
Harden or Chris Paul. We're talking about Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
James-
Chris Paul. James Harden travels, score, whatever. Chris Paul. What does he have on his resume? What does he have?
Oh, is that an actual
I'm asking you. What is
I can't sit here and deny the fact
No.
that
Answer the question. What does he have on his resume that makes him a Hall of Fame point guard?
Look at all the assists he has.
That what else?
John
9
Stock-
All-Star games.
Okay, what else?
You
Kyle
gotta look
Lowry
at
got
teams.
to an All-Star game. You can't even count those
Yeah,
credible
but
anymore.
you cannot blame him for a team. Basketball is a team game, and
Right,
winning a
absolutely.
title takes a whole team unless you're LeBron James.
How about Steve Nash carrying that Suns team?
Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire.
Great. Who else?
It doesn't matter.
Who else?
He still had somebody else.
Come on, Chris Paul. You're gonna tell me every team that Chris Paul was on, he didn't have one
Blake
person to pass
Griffin,
to?
DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan. Okay, never mind. Anyway, the one thing I wanted to close on is I know that throughout the week we had talked about the fact of, while James Harden is, going through these crazy, 30 straight 30 or 20, 30, whatever. In the last 10 games, the Rockets are 5-5.
Mhm.
Going back, 4 of those losses have all been within 10 points. So it's not like these are like, blowouts. They're close. If you had somebody else, if Harden had somebody else, like a Chris Paul, those games potentially are different.
Okay.
That's what I want to leave it on.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. The next topic, we're going to bring back the NFL with the Super Bowl happening next Sunday.
Most pizza restaurants are not meant to have people sit down and enjoy their meal, but this one's different. JoJo Pizzeria is meant for friends and families to come in, sit down, and enjoy a meal surrounded by an amazing atmosphere and great food. With specials like Monday Night Dollar Beer and Wednesday Night Dollar Slice, how could you not have a good time with cheap, amazing food? With an amazing dining room that allows customers to see directly into the kitchen, you get that homey feel unlike other pizza chains. Plus, there's a game room with a pool table and a TV for entertainment. So come on in and enjoy a game, a beer, a slice, or even just being around the people that you care about the most. JoJo Pizzeria, the best northern-style pizza in Virginia. Check out our website for location and menu.
Welcome back to PickABone with Bones and the Boys. Again, alongside Anthony McAvoy and Jay Block, I'm Justin Jones, the host of the show. We're going to get into the NFL segment of our show, talk about the NFC and AFC championship games that happened 1 week ago. The Super Bowl's 1 week away now. It's the first time in history where both games went into overtime and the away teams coming out on top. Anthony, break down the NFC championship game versus the Rams and Saints.
So obviously we all know what happened at the end of the NFC championship game. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Saints came out and they started hot. And it really looked like the Rams weren't going to get back in it. But, exactly like what happened when the Saints played the Eagles the week before. Sorry, Justin, you're an Eagles fan. Got to bring this up. A fake punt really changed everything that happened in that game. It gave the team that converted it momentum. So in the second quarter when the Rams converted that fake punt, Johnny Hecker, amazing punter throwing the ball, should maybe make a backup quarterback if anything happens. Sean McVay hit me up. I got ideas. But yeah, it was a really good game. And then, obviously, we know the thing that really hurt and tarnished the game. 1 minute, 45 seconds left. The Saints had the ball at the 20-yard line with a 3rd down and 10 to go. Drew Brees drops back, tried to hit Tommy Lee Lewis, and Nickel Roby-Coleman comes over and makes the absolute obvious head-to-head contact and pass interference. Both go uncalled. Either of those fouls would have been a 1st down, an automatic 1st down. The Saints obviously had 3 downs to just clock the ball, or not clock the ball, I'm sorry, kneel the ball. The Rams were out of timeouts at that point. So
then they would have kicked the field goal and would have been in the Super Bowl right
Exactly.
there.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it was just one of those things where that call really decided the game. Earlier today, it came out that Nickel Roby-Coleman was fined for a head-to-head hit on Tommy Lee Lewis, which means that the NFL admits that there was a call missed, which would have given the Saints the win in that game.
Now, and the one thing I saw on social media, Benjamin Watson, tight end for the Saints, he mentioned how, Goodell, he always wants his players to be held accountable for their actions, and we've seen in the past where they come out and, admit what they did, admit they were wrong. And Benjamin Watson challenged Goodell to come out and say, dude, you guys were wrong. We deserve a shot in the Super Bowl.
And he's not the only Saints player that said this. Monday morning, we saw
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas, thank you so much. Michael Thomas tweeting these rules in the rule book that says, as a commissioner, you can say, no, that's not how this is going to end. And he tweeted again right back at Roger Goodell. So there are multiple players that are coming out and, saying like, hey, you're the commissioner and you have not made a statement or anything about this, which is really shocking considering the fact that that was obvious.
Yeah.
And then you have all the pictures going around saying that all the refs are actually, when you look them up, they're actually from LA. One of them supposedly played for the Rams. So it's just a lot of, it's kind of weird. It's a big controversy and it sucks for the Rams because, honestly, in my opinion, they should be sitting at home, not New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fan of the NFC South. I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but I can't stand the fact that Drew Brees is not going to get to play in the Super Bowl.
And then on the AFC side, Jay, again, we all know Tom Brady. You can go ahead with the rest.
Pretty boy Tom. I mean, what is there to say? We saw Tom Brady be Tom Brady. Everybody questioned him through the regular season. Like, he looked a little sluggish, a lot of shorter length yard passing. This was a Tom that we knew was going to happen with age, obviously, but I was even a Mahomes fan too. Going into this, I wanted Mahomes to come out on top.
I
wanted to see the rookie
I would think
show.
everybody did.
Everybody
wanted
you'd be
that to
surprised,
happen.
actually. There was a couple of people. I have a cousin who's a Patriots fan. She's,
I'm so sorry.
oh, Tom, she's one of those.
Well,
Yeah.
The one thing I think about here is Tom Brady. He didn't give Mahomes a shot to come down in overtime. What if Tom Brady would have went 3 and out, 4 and out, or whatever? Mahomes would have got a chance at his 20 to try to drive down and win it.
I could possibly see the Chiefs on a plane right now to the arena to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I could really see that.
And
This was an offensive team that we were just so infatuated with watch playing. I mean, this was a rookie
second year.
Second year, excuse me, carrying the team. This was a typical story that comes out of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where can you go in the NFL?
In his second year leading to the Super Bowl, I would say last year Carson Wentz, right?
No.
I tried.
No, Justin, stop. Mute.
God,
Time out.
Just threw up in my mouth a little bit. No, but seriously, when do we ever really talk about this? I mean, yes, it's been done before, I'm sure, in times before us, but when we really hear about this, we don't think of a small little dude like Patrick Mahomes.
And you also, it's special, and because of what Mahomes can do, he's a right-handed quarterback, but you see him, throwing with his left hand, getting tackled, throwing with his left hand, no-look passes left and right. It's nuts. And he's the type of player that electrifies the league. An electric offense. You got Tyreek Hill. You had Kareem Hunt for a little bit. It's just one of these where that Chiefs offense, even for someone who didn't like football, could get behind it and be like, you know what? That's a great offense. Like, that's a fun team to watch. And it's a young offense, too. Travis Kelce's, getting up there, but he's still on the younger side. He can still ball. He can still play. Tariq Hunt's young. Sammy Watkins is, like I said, getting up there.
Though.
He's still electric. And, and this is a team that's fast. Just a fast team. And that's something that, honestly, you would want, especially with the Rams being in the Super Bowl right now. Do you remember the Monday night game? 54-51, electric. Absolutely electric. That was the storyline, in my opinion, that the NFL needed to have. Not, Tom Brady did it again.
And with the Super Bowl happening next week, our next episode, which will air next Sunday, we'll give you our picks. Have a couple different segments. Let's hope Tom Brady doesn't come away with another Super Bowl, but we will find out next week. Moving on to the next subject, I just brought up Carson Wentz a couple minutes ago. Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. I mean, there's still the drama around. I know the season's over, but even and everywhere, if you listen to any type of radio sports talk, they always talk about, who should the Eagles keep? Should it be Nick Foles, the guy who's been coming clutch last 2 years, or should it be the franchise guy that they drafted second overall 3 years back in Carson Wentz? I would love to go first, but I'll save my side for last.
You're biased, though.
Yeah, but I got numbers to back it up.
He's got numbers, but it's still at the end of the day what he wants to say. The numbers say whatever he wants.
Right.
This is an Eagles fan talking about an Eagles debate. There shouldn't even be you guys should not even be allowing him to talk. When he talks, you should click the mute button. But that's subjective.
Jay, go ahead.
Here's my point. Actually, you know what? Scratch the point. Threw it off the table. Foles stays. Foles stays. Foles.
You're muted.
Nicky Foles is staying or he should. He's not going to, but he should.
He could stay in Philadelphia once we franchise tag him and then get traded in the preseason.
No. That's
okay.
That's wrong. That would be wrong for the Eagles to do. One, financially. Two, and for Nick.
You give your point, and I'll go ahead after.
Okay.
I never even finished mine.
Keep going. Sorry.
No. You know what? Forget it.
No,
you guys are so busy. Here's
going.
my point. Foles, people are going to say Wentz could have probably won the bowl too, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. Foles won that bowl from you. Wentz might have set you up for a good season, but Foles sealed the deal. He's more experienced, and their stats are so identical it doesn't even matter.
I have their stats from the last 2 years in front.
I think their QBR is a little bit different.
Their QBR in 2017, Carson Wentz had a QBR of 77.2. This year's QBR was 64.9. Now, I also have playoff stats for Nick Foles, but that is also because Nick Foles was the quarterback in the playoffs. For the regular season in 2017, Nick Foles had a 34.7 QBR, but that's because Nick Foles hadn't played in 2 years. This year, Nick Foles had a QBR of 96 in the regular season. In the playoffs last year, Nick Foles had a 115.7 QBR. He completed 72.6% of his passes. Did you watch the Super Bowl, Justin?
That just happened. No. How do you feel? That just happened.
Keep going.
Super Bowl MVP. In 3 games last year in the postseason, he threw for 972 yards in 3 games.
Let's go. What
6 touchdown passes.
Let's get rid of him.
1 interception.
I don't think he contributes.
324 yards a game. Super Bowl MVP. He won the game.
I don't think he's good enough. I think we should get rid of him. I think we need another kicker.
Okay.
I think you like that? That was a kicker. It was a kicker. No, they don't get it. All right, whatever.
So you guys
I thought it was a good one.
You guys are right. The numbers are very similar. The past, as a starting quarterback for the Eagles, Nick Foles 1911, Carson Wentz 1811. Touchdowns to interceptions, Nick Foles 52 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, Carson Wentz 49 to 21. The team this year definitely played better at the end of the season when Nick Foles was at quarterback. We can't argue that.
Did you watch the beginning of the season too? Because in that first game, he played really well. Now, in the second game, I will say, I have to... Can you let me rub it in that my Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat yours with Fitzmagic just once? Anyway, okay. I'll let you continue.
Anyway, the stuff we're bringing up right now is the past. The past, all these past numbers. But the thing is, what the Eagles are making is their decision for the future. And their decision for the future is in Carson Wentz. They've already came out and said, Doug Peterson came out and said Carson Wentz is the quarterback next year, and that's what they're going to do. Carson Wentz, this year, you could say all the numbers you want this year. You could say all the numbers you want this year. That you can.
This might
guess what? He was injured.
I got another playoff stat. Has Carson Wentz caught a touchdown pass? Nick Foles did.
Oh, come on. Well, that's a little much.
Dude, come
No,
on.
but
That's a
still,
little
but
much.
still.
I'm with the Eagles fan on that one. That's a
First
little
off,
much.
I just want to say that I love the Philly special. But you have to think, they wouldn't have kept Nick Foles around this year if they didn't think the same exact thing was going to happen as last year.
He's still another year on his contract.
He still had another year on his contract, yeah. But you can't tell me during the summer.
Can I finish?
You can't tell me during the summer, last summer, that they were not getting trade offers for Nick Foles.
They were, but Carson was still injured at the time. And he's actually injured throughout this whole season. That's why his stats may not have added up. I mean, this season, Carson Wentz, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Nick Foles in 7 games, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Same amount of turnovers. I'm not the completion percentage, wherever you want to argue. But this season, in the postseason, how many touchdowns and interceptions did Nick Foles have?
Nick Foles was 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions against 2 very good defenses.
Say it again.
3 touchdowns to 4 interceptions.
That's cute. You guys do that.
Oh,
But
That's cute.
but remember, Carson Wentz wasn't there to get them to the playoffs. Nick Foles was.
Okay. But this is the future we're talking about of this team. Carson Wentz was only in his 3rd year this year. And I'm telling you what, but you guys are all saying this now, but give Carson Wentz the next 3 years, I won't be surprised.
Eagles
if
fans
Nick-
said that for the past 2
Carson
seasons.
Wentz's deal.
They
And mind,
were
Carson
one
Wentz's
play away from the
rookie-
NFC Championship game back-to-back years with their 4th and 5th string corners out there. Name one of those cornerbacks for me.
I honestly didn't understand what you said.
Name one of those cornerbacks
From what?
on the
Before
Eagles.
that.
What do you mean?
I like missed your whole thing because I was sitting here thinking about what I
Back-to-back
was about
NFC
to say.
champions.
Back-to-back, and they're one play away from back-to-back NFC championships.
And who are the win?
This year.
Where are you?
Sean, yeah, are you good?
I'm good. I just like zoned out.
Anyway. The Eagles have already made their move. They're going to stick with Carson Wentz. And I won't be surprised if they do sign Nick Foles for either another year, franchise tag, or what. But I think they should try to get rid of him, try to get something back. Just hopefully, please do not trade him inside the division to the Washington Redskins or New York Giants.
Oh my God,
That's
please
all I
do.
ask as an Eagles fan. And then we're going to take a quick commercial break before we come back to talk a little bit about baseball and Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. But we'll be right back after this message.
Here at Bootleggers Lynchburg, we pride ourselves on quality food with a family atmosphere. We are offering a buy 2 entrees, get 1 appetizer free special from December 10th to the 14th for a limited time. We invite you to come join our courteous and well-trained staff while you enjoy the best burgers in town in a relaxing environment. Make your next dining experience memorable. We are Bootleggers. Burgers, bourbon, and beer.
Welcome back to PickABones with Bones and the boys. Anthony McAvoy, Jay Block. I'm Justin Jones. Moving into the baseball side of the show with also our Pick'em segment coming up after. We talk about Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. 2 giant free agent signings that are going to happen hopefully here soon. I think it would be a domino effect. But Jay, who do you think Bryce Harper and Manny Machado are going to end up with for this next season?
Well, they already talked about before the season officially concluded last season that Bryce has been in negotiations with the Phillies. And they also had talked about that Machado had contacted the Yankees. Or vice versa, excuse me. The Yankees have reached out to him. Now, when we hear in sports, they say, in talks, I think it's a little more than, hey, how you doing? I mean, it's show me the money. So when it comes down to talks like that, I am very confident and stern on where they're going to go. Bryce is going to Philly. Machado's going to New York. And if we look at the Yankees' history, they have recruited these sluggers over the years. Teixeira, A-Rod, Johnny Damon, Ellsbury, all these...
Carlos Stanton.
Carlos Stanton, McCutcheon even for one season. I mean, they got these guys who can just slam the ball out of the park. I mean, it's just in their resume to do stuff like this. Wouldn't surprise me at all that Machado joined the Yankee clan.
For me, I went a little outside the box. I think on both of mine. A team I'd like to see get Manny Machado, the Minnesota Twins. And let me tell you why. Minnesota, if most people don't remember, 2 years ago were in the playoffs. They got beat by the New York Yankees in the wild card game. Now, this is a team that I think has good hitters. You got Miguel Sano, who's really good at third base. You move Machado over shortstop, so you have a really good defensive infield. They already had a good defensive infield, but Machado's an elite defensive player. So you add him in. Now, you also sit here and you look at their payroll. The Minnesota Twins had a payroll of $94.41 million. Do you know where that is in the league? Bottom 10. They have the money to go out and sign a premier defender. Do I think it'll happen? No. But I really would like to see the Minnesota Twins get out there and make an offer, considering the fact that they have the money to do it.
You know that song by Aerosmith?
Dream on.
Dream on. Because it's never happening. Who wants to go to out of all the teams? One of the biggest hitters in the league are going. I'm gonna go to Minnesota. Come on, man. Come on, man.
While I think it's a stretch, I really
A stretch is an understatement. It's a heave. It is throwing a coin in a fountain and your dream coming true.
But wouldn't you think it'd be a little
No.
more?
There you go, man.
Yeah.
You can keep
Thanks
that,
for coming.
keep the baseball
There's
up.
your souvenir.
All right, see you guys.
That's terrible. You're gonna tell me that this guy's gonna go. Yeah, it's
Minnesota.
Let's go to Minnesota.
Definitely
Let's
Minnesota.
go to Minnesota.
Why don't even go to the
Come on,
Vikings
man.
in the NFL? Minnesota.
That's because the Vikings are iffy.
It was
Vikings
the
are
NFC Championship game last year.
Do you remember what happened in the NFC Championship
Yeah,
last
he
year?
blew them out. Just
And
like-
it was also a nobody quarterback who carried them. That's
Yeah.
for
and,
different
and
time.
for me, I think at first I thought Machado was going to go to the Phils. I really thought we needed that shortstop third baseman to replace Mikel Franco.
Also a Philly fan.
Okay.
Bias, subjective, call whatever you want. Hit the mute button. What were
And
you
at
saying?
first I thought Machado was going to go to Philly, but with the Phillies signing Gene Segura, I don't see that happening anymore. I think they're going to go after Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
We talked about the Phillies have the money. They have the most money. They could sign both of them if they both wanted to come.
It's
I
a
don't see
stretch.
it-
They could, but it's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't see it happening just because they need
It'd be a
they need some other.
Be a little difficult in a few years when they have to re-sign both.
And
of
when
them.
they want
And
more
when
money.
we sign
Yeah.
contracts,
Because
yeah.
all the price tags, I mean, no matter who it is, they're just going to keep going up and take them for a ride.
But so I think Bryce Harper ends up with the Phillies. Hopefully, please. But I think Bryce Harper, even though sometimes his attitude, I'm not a big fan of. He's a hard player, and I think once he gets into that Philadelphia, the fans of Philadelphia, I think they're going to drive him to actually come out to be his best.
Mhm.
And Machado, on the other hand, I'm going to agree with you. I think he's going to go to the Yankees.
Thank you.
Play shortstop. I mean, if I'm right, he grew up a Yankees fan. He played against him a lot, being in Baltimore over the past few seasons. But I think overall, I mean, Machado is going to land with the Yankees, but it's a domino effect. So once one of the other signs, the other one's going to sign, and you're going to see about 8 to 10 guys sign right after him, the different teams who now have all this money to hand out. But now we're going to move into our pick'em segment. These two have picked a couple games this week for you guys to watch out for. We'll start off with Jay. Jay, what games are there this week to, let the crowd, what games are the best?
First off, I got to tell you, I love this time of the year. It's like income tax for me. This is basketball at its finest. College basketball, it is prime time right before March. I love it. If I got to pick two games for this weekend, we're going Texas Tech, TCU. We saw a TCU team that is dominant on the offensive side led by Desmond Bain, freshman point guard who gets buckets and plays like a small forward. This kid is a tank. I think he'll definitely help them, but I still think they're going to come up short to number 14 Texas Tech. You have Jarrett Culver who averages almost 20 points a game. This kid is going in the draft. The bucket, plays like a team player, and has hustle out the building. This game will be absolutely awesome. Second game, we're going to go to the pros. We're going to talk about Lakers-Warriors. Now, I know what you're thinking. Steph's going to have 50, Clay will have 60, and Durant will have 70, and Boogie will have 10. That's not the case. I think this Laker team is going to come out and shock them like how they did when they beat them in Oracle. With or without LeBron, it doesn't matter, because this is a game where you think it's going to be a blowout, and it's going to flip-flop, and it's going to go totally opposite the other way. I think it'll be a really good game to watch.
So for me, the two games that I think I'm going to watch out for is number 5, Michigan travels to number 19, Iowa. Last week, Michigan suffered its second loss of the season, I'm sorry, to a Wisconsin team who was unranked, a really good team. Brian Poole, my player to watch, I think, in that game. Very, very high-scoring game, actually low-scoring game, because Iowa's a defensive team, but they can also shoot lights out. I like Michigan to come out and win that game, especially knowing that they have to get back on track in Big Ten play. So watch out for Michigan, but Iowa's going to give them a run for their money. For me, my second game is going to be number 11 UNC and Georgia Tech. Now, UNC is a perennial powerhouse, and we don't see Roy Williams struggling to get some sort of syncrasy with a lot of his players. But right now, him, Nasir Little, and Luke May definitely having some issues right now being on the same page. On the other end of that, Georgia Tech is a very, very aggressive defense who can also really, really play well on offense, just like Iowa, as I just mentioned. I like Georgia Tech in the upset in that game. I definitely think that it's going to be a close game, but right now I think that there's too many question marks in UNC. I really think that UNC is going to come out and play because it's UNC and they always come out and play, to keep pace in the ACC. But I really think that Georgia Tech is going to take advantage of the fact that there's, like I said, a lot of question marks right now for UNC.
Gotcha. So that's our 4 games. Did you have that game? I think, Anthony, you had that game. what not to watch this
So
week.
what not to watch this week is 5-17 South Carolina upstate. They will travel to UNC Asheville to take on the 2-18 UNC Asheville team. Now, this is what I like to call maybe the garbage bowl. It's the teams you shouldn't watch, but you know what? Those are always the most fun games to watch for me. I'm basically from North Carolina, so I'm picking UNC Asheville in the upset.
And for myself, South Carolina Upstate, better record, Malik Moore averages a little bit more points, and on the other hand, for UNC Asheville, only scoring roughly 58 points a game. I don't see them being able to score enough to come away with victory, but I do like upset, so we'll see what happens with that game. Jay?
Well, I was digging through them, and like how Anthony said, there are a couple of garbage games every weekend or so or during the week. I found Campbell at Hampton.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all I got. So
Who you got?
Campbell chicken noodle soup. So I'm going with Campbell.
All right.
On the road, I don't know, everybody likes a can of soup. I'm going with Campbell.
Got it, and it's cold outside. So.
It is cold out. There you go. I didn't even think about that. Campbell's cold chicken noodle soup on the road. Cold. You never had the soup now, and you never.
I generally heat it up.
Whatever, man.
That's it. That's all we have here for today. This is Pick a Bone with Bones and the Boys. I'm Justin Jones, joined by Jay Block. I thought he was going to say his name.
No,
Anthony
that's
McAvoy.
my job.
This is
That's my job.
first episode of the show. Be on the lookout for next week's show. It should air roughly around 10 to 11 Eastern Time on our YouTube page. Thank you for watching.